Hello and welcome. My name is Kaylee Jo and I make content all about my experiences as a theater educator, and welcome to Musical Monday, where I take a few minutes every Monday to share a little bit of background information about a musical title, and I hope that you are feeling lucky this week as we take a look at the classic golden age musical Guys and Dolls. Make sure you check the links in the description box down below for some great clips of this show. Guys and Dolls is a musical comedy that premiered on Broadway in 1950 with music and lyrics by Frank Loesser. The show was wildly successful and earned 5 Tony Award wins in 1951, including Best Musical. That initial production would go on for 1,200 performances, and then a 1955 film adaptation starring Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando would truly cement this musical's place in history as one of the greatest shows of all time. Since its premiere, the musical has seen multiple revivals worldwide, and it is now available for schools and community theater groups to perform, and there's even a junior version for younger students to take on. Guys and Dolls is actually based on a series of short stories by Damon Runyon and follows a group of gamblers as they try to outsmart one another in 1950s New York, meaning there are some pretty big personalities involved. You've got Nathan Detroit, the charming but broke organizer of the oldest established permanent floating craps game in town, who is working desperately to try to find a spot to host his game. Meanwhile, his long-suffering fiancée of 14 years, Miss Adelaide, is busy dealing with a perpetual cold and the desire to get married, which Nathan is trying to avoid for as long as he possibly can. Enter Sky Masterson, a high-rolling and handsome gambler who is known for placing big bets. He is about to place the riskiest bet of his life whenever he meets the pious and beautiful Sarah Brown. Through a series of crazy schemes and catchy tunes, the colorful characters of Guys and Dolls learn how to navigate the chaotic world of love and dice, while learning that sometimes the biggest gamble of them all is falling in love. Like I mentioned earlier, the show was made into a film adaptation in 1955, starring some pretty famous actors for the time, Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando. Now, Frank Loesser was the lyricist and composer for the show, and he really wanted to see the actor who originally portrayed Nathan Detroit on Broadway to reprise his role for the film, but that did not end up happening, and the role went to Frank Sinatra instead. Loesser was so appalled by the choice that he refused to watch the film, even though he wrote the music and lyrics for it. Guys and Dolls takes place in New York City, and most of the characters in the show have a pretty strong New York accent. So this week I would like you to sit in the director's chair and answer the following question. Do you believe it is important that the actors in Guys and Dolls have a New York accent? Why or why not? Feel free to share all of your thoughts in the comments down below. That is all for this week's Musical Monday. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, break a leg.